Yes, people, big up yourselves. Obviously, the Tuesday panel wasn't here live yesterday, but I had a few things to do, I'll be real. And then obviously we're joined by, as you can see on the thumb, if you have seen it, there is man like Ozzy Gooner, you got man like Jay as well. I mean, Monster's just there for prop, I suppose. And then obviously Ches and G will be here at some point soon. But we're going to be talking about, we didn't get to talk about it yesterday, but Man City's crown champions again. Yeah. Then Fabrizio Romano come out today talking about Ederson potentially leaving, but there's an offer on the table if he wants to go, but it's down to him. The Arteta out brigade in full force, and apparently an extension's going to be given to him because they are trying to agree a new deal. So if you're an Arteta out fan, then you might as well go make some more videos or go make some more tweets or go make whatever because he's staying. And then obviously we got the England Euro squad, the provisional squad, the 32 man that might be called up, the 26 that has to be selected from the improved 23-man squad. Got two super chats here. First and foremost, breaking Ederson could leave Man City this summer, according to Fabrizio Romano, and also Rafinha is on Liverpool shortlist. That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. Rafinha.
Rafinha is not only on that shortlist, but anyway.
Spurs as well.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I like Rafinha. You know what? I'm not going to judge Rafinha on his time at Barcelona. I think he's just more suited to the Prem.
That's it, man. That's it. He's a perfect Premier League winger. Like,
he is just a goal scorer. He's a goal scorer, yeah. And he's a bit of a handful. We could talk about that.
Like a shit Sane.
Wow. Honestly, breaking Jarell Kwanzaa included in England squad. Paul Joyce. That's big if that's the case. That's actually big. Yes. But on that notice as well, I saw Reece James is not included apparently.
Even if you wanted to put him in, maybe that red card probably convinced him. Nah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right call or not, because Reece James, if he is fit and he's a talent at the end of the day,
if he's fit, that's the problem. Yeah, if he is fit, man.
I mean, he went for his surgery, etc. He looked good in his foot. He's had a couple games now, I swear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't lie. I'm taking him over Trippier all day long. But
yeah, is Trippier going to make it?
I don't know. You know,
his form has been quite poor for like 6 months now.
So who's the right back then? Like obviously we could dive into the England squad a little bit later.
Walker Trent, maybe.
Walker Trent.
Left back. I saw Chilwell's not included.
Yeah, Chilwell's not in.
They're probably going to pick Gomez for his versatility.
He put Luke Shaw though.
I was about to say that. I think Luke Shaw is being picked.
Shaw must be close then.
No, Shaw's close to being back. Like he's fighting fit to see if he can get it on the bench or something against Man City. But why would you play him if he's not fit? But then if he ain't had anything, then it's like I don't know why you'd pick him. I mean, Tivro Livramento has been an absolute beast this year, in my opinion, considering he's been playing out left and right. I would personally select him. I think he's solid.
I wouldn't take Livramento. The only reason I wouldn't take him is in a cup competition, like a tournament like this. If you're gonna go with two specialists, like for example Walker and Trent, if I must take another right back, I'd rather take someone like Gomez, someone that can fill in a few different positions.
I'd rather Gomez at left back. I'll be honest. I think his best works come at left back this year.
That's a good shout.
Gomez will go as a auxiliary left back potentially.
By the way, the squad isn't out until 2 p.m. It's just names getting dropped and stuff like that. Yeah. I'll be doing a reaction video. We'll talk about that. Wait, just a quick one before we talk about the whole Man City and Arsenal stuff and blah blah. Who's England's left back then? Other than if it's not Joe Gomez, who is it?
It's either gonna be
sure.
It's gonna have to be like a centre back at left back, so like a Branthwaite or a Colwill or something like that. I think that's how it's gonna
happen. Colwill's I don't know about that.
But Colwill's played left back quite a bit this season, so that might give him a little bit more.
Joe Gomez. So Shaw is one of them, but I'm
Gomez
thinking
would be a better shout, man.
Yeah, so Trippier might go because he plays left back so much.
Yeah, not Lewis Hall. I like Lewis Hall, but I think he's got a lot to grow. I don't think Eddie Howe's done his development any justice. Tyreek Mitchell. See, I'm a fan of Tyreek Mitchell, Mustafa. Yeah, but no one wants to hear it. You know, I think he's a solid option. I think Gomez is the best option right now. And you know what? When Gomez I remember a couple years ago when Gomez and Van Dijk had that partnership. Gomez run of games. He was wicked. It was wicked at the end of the day.
Yeah, so Trippier, Shaw, and Gomez probably will go.
Fucking sucks, man.
It ain't the best. It ain't the best shot for the left hand side, but you got to admit the rest of the squad's looking crazy, man.
Yeah.
From centre backs to midfield, we were discussing it backstage. There's some names, man. There's some names on the bench as well, man.
Yeah, 100%. But before we dive into I'm gonna let it obviously slide a little bit longer because this pause. I'm pretty sure David Ornstein and all that will be saying, this so-and-so has made the squad. This so-and-so has made the squad. So before it's come out, we'll talk about it at the end a little bit further. But we might as well talk about a bit of the elephant in the room. Man City's 4-peat. Didn't get to really talk about it. Talked about it on Sunday. Ederson. Now, we all know, look, Man City, best team in the country. Yes, obviously, you wouldn't be crowned champions and stuff like that. Were they too good this season? That's another question I could ask you. Look, I ain't got your opinions on that. And then the other, obviously, the elephant in the room is Ederson, particularly. I'm going to talk about it with Daps. Obviously, we're going to do reviews on each team and drop them like little part by part. But Ederson leaving, I'm not going to lie to you boys, yeah. But I actually think Ortega has been a better goalkeeper this year, and I think I think he deserves a chance if it's going to be the case. And it goes to show Pep Guardiola really does trust him. Like when you think of Pep's squad. He's always evolving it. He's always letting players go pretty much at the right time. You know, when you deep it, he's apparently going to leave as well. I have people in the chat. I know you might be a City fan, but thank fuck, he might be leaving. Big up Ches, by the way. You got Ches True Blue, Ches Real Blue. Whatever blue that you want to think of, there's Ches. But even his room. But on that note, we just talk about Man City and Ederson particularly leaving. If Ederson, if Pep's going to leave, then revamping the squad that little bit is probably the perfect thing to do in a way. I think Ederson leaving is massive for the dressing room though. So I don't know if Man City should hold on to him or should get rid of him at this point or let him leave. What do you lot think about that?
From my point of view, I think no, I mean six titles. He's been there for the whole thing. Trebles, all this, like it's lots of doubles. Opportunities to potentially get crazy Saudi money. Ortega there as a backup, potentially ready to step. I think the thing is that if you're going to talk about being a specific shot stopper, then you can make a good argument for Ortega's better. But in terms of how City play in the other facets, I still think that Ederson's still number one. He's still the guy for them. But you're right. It's like Lunin at Real Madrid. It's your second choice has come in and done as good as you could possibly ever imagine him doing. I think the last time I saw it in the Prem was Emi Martinez at Arsenal. When he came in when Leno got injured, and he got to a point where he played so well, he was like, I should be number one. And Arsenal arguably spent a few years getting back to a keeper who's probably arguably not even of Martinez's level, rather than just giving him the keys. That's the one black mark I'd give Arteta in terms of his squad building. Like, he never needed to do this whole Ramsdale, Raya thing if he just stuck with Martinez and gave him the shirt in the first place, which he ended up wanting to give Ramsdale the shirt anyway because Leno messed up. So, yada, yada. Back to Ederson is that, yeah, I think it's a good time for him to potentially consider options. I don't necessarily think City would be better off. Maybe a little bit worse off in build-up and stuff like that, but yeah, I think if you win 6 trophies, 6 titles in 7 years, there's a natural what next for the player, and I think I'm not sure he'll go. It could be like a Bernardo Silva type thing, where it's always like go, you can go, but no one's actually going to pay the money. But yeah. We'll see.
You know what though? Big up G just joined Aussie, right? Ederson is only 30 years of age. If there's going to be an offer on the table for this year, that tells me there's going to be an offer on the table for next year. I mean, he's done everything you can do at City, right? You won everything. You've done a treble. You've done a 4-peat. You've made history. You're part of that history. You've pretty much been there for how long has he been there for now? I think about 8 years. I think 8 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. 7, 8 years. Like I don't understand why someone would want to leave Premier League in Europe so soon. I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, Ortega's ultimately had a more of a solid season. Is he the better keeper overall? Probably not. When you deep it, it's just been a year. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But finding like a replacement, that means obviously you're gonna have to go get another number 2, and you might have to promise Ortega the number 1 shirt. I just don't see why he'd want to leave personally. I think there's so much more to fight for. You know, a second Champions League, yada yada yada. Obviously, he's still competing with Alisson for when it comes to Brazil as well. You know, like you want to keep that spot. If you go to Saudi, there's no more Brazil because Alisson's probably going to get that spot, right?
All day.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's okay for him to leave. He's literally achieved everything he needs to achieve. He's 30 years old. Probably wants something new, like Gundogan did last year. He always wants new scenery, like move away from the area, just change it up a bit. I don't really think. I know you're saying he can achieve more, but he's literally achieved everything he can achieve, isn't it? Like, what more can you really do? Like on top of what you already won already. He's got enough money as it is. He's secured his bag. He's got his trophies. He's got his respect in the game. I don't know, man. I think he's. And if he knows Pep's leaving, he probably knows more than we do, right? They probably speak behind closed doors and all that. Pep's probably leaving next year or year after. So he's probably like, you know what? Before the cycle ends and we just leave early, see if I can get out of it. And that's it, really.
Yeah, but surely it can't be just down to Pep. Like, if you love the club and everything, it's not just more.
He's been there for a while.
On Pep. Yeah, Pep
but
doesn't mean.
Does it make sense though? Does it make sense? Does it make sense that he wants to leave all of a sudden? I mean, look what he's achieved at Manchester City. Just because he's achieved so much glory doesn't mean that he wants it to end. Really, to go to the Saudi league now means that he really doesn't want to achieve anything but coin. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't. I think if he's going to move, he's going to look for a bigger challenge in the Saudi league. I don't think he's the kind of player that's going to go and say, "Okay, I don't want to play for my nation anymore. I need the coin." He doesn't look that guy. And he's a wonderful keeper. Let's be honest. I mean, everything he's achieved at Manchester City, being that number 1, it isn't because it's good looks and this and that. It's because he's been able to perform.
Do you want me to give you a rundown of his honours, by the way, in terms of his glory?
By all means, please.
So he's won 2 FA Cups, could win a 3rd. He's won 4 League Cups. Oh my God, this is hurting me a little bit. He's won 6 Premier Leagues. He's won a Super Cup. He's won a FIFA Club World Cup. He's won a Champions League. Copa America winning 18-19. Goalkeeper of the season at Benfica when he first kind of come through in his career. He's a Portuguese Cup winner as well. He's won a Portuguese League Cup as well, and also the Portuguese Super Cup on top of that with Benfica. This guy could become one of the most decorated, other than Buffon and stuff like that. He could become one of the most decorated goalkeepers of all time. Of all time. And people need to understand that. I don't think he's average. You know what? I don't think he got enough flowers personally last season, where I think he was the best keeper in the world at the point. Champions League, phenomenal. And one like this, you have to give someone like Ederson his flower. Just because he might not be the best shot stopper doesn't mean he doesn't excel anywhere else. It's probably, other than Onana himself, you could argue best distributor of the ball.
I actually think Ederson's a very good shot stopper. Actually, like
I think he's underrated.
Yeah. He's underrated.
You know what is Jay? Yeah. When he gets, you know what it is, because you're not used to seeing City can see many goals and stuff like that. Yes, he has a couple howlers here and there, yeah, but it's just that one moment, and then people always remember that one moment that happened about 15 games ago. And that's personally how I see the narrative when it comes to Ederson. Definitely underrated.
Edison's solid, man. I would love to have Ederson as my goalkeeper. I can't lie.
What do you mean? You got Alisson, no?
All day.
It depends on what type of football you're looking to play. I think Alisson is a very good shot stopper, right? But obviously, if you're a team who want to play out from the back and someone who is actually a very good shot stopper at the same time, not as good as Alisson, but just someone who is a good shot stopper, I feel like you're talking about one of the best keepers out there in Ederson. Like, let's not. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, Alisson has that over him. He's a good shot stopper. That's about it. Outside of that, I don't think he does anything else better than Ederson. Ederson is a better ball player and stuff like that. All of that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But listen, Alisson is Alisson. We got him. Man City got Ederson. So, yeah.
Alisson, I can't lie. When it comes to Alisson, it's not just shot stopping. Let's be real. Positioning is one of them.
Yeah.
I think
Ederson's got that as well. Ederson's got that as well.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't, but Alisson's position is like, he makes some mad saves that sometimes you think like, And then also, I think his 1v1s are very good on top of that. Like there's a lot more than shot stop. There's a lot more to goalkeeping than I think. Obviously, shot stopping and distribution. You got positioning. You got the eccentricity, the quick sweeping. Ederson's really good at sweeping just as much as Alisson. They're both top class goalkeepers. Just depends when it comes to Brazil. It just depends what's your fancy, really. Wait, I think Jay's always talking somewhere else. But yeah, man, look, Ederson leaving. But what do you lot think of Pep leaving though? It's about time, isn't it? It's probably you know what's the maddest part is, yeah. At least I don't have to say it twice. But for you fans, you had it with Sir Alex Ferguson. You probably thought, oh, thank fuck. And then Pep comes in a few years later. Now you're probably thinking the same thing. Oh, thank fuck. Please leave. Right? Just bug off.
It's about time. It'll be about time, man. With Pep Guardiola, like, bro, the guy's just won his 4th Premier League title. I kind of think he'll win his next Premier League title also next season. So what we saying? What, 5 in a row? I think it's time, man. Like you've done what you needed to do. You've dominated in Spain. You was there. You dominated in Germany when you was there. You dominated in England when you was here, brother. I beg you, just leave now. Go to Italy and dominate there for like 3 years. You know, do your thing over there. Like the guy's literally dominated. Of course, he's the best manager in the world. Do you get what I'm saying? So of course, we kind of want him to leave, so that we can at least make it a bit more competitive.
He's too good, man.
Now.
He's way too good,
solid,
man.
Bro. Solid.
He's.
Solid.
Mate, you know what? It's one of them where you're gonna have a conversation like who's like who the best manager of the Premier League ever was, and then it's always gonna be like, oh, but he done this and he done that, but this Man City, like, it's hard to even put bad words on them, man. Except you're just in hope. That's it. You're just in hope. Like, please drop some points. Please go concede some more goals. Please lose that cup final. And you know what the maddest thing with Pep? I think he's only lost one. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Is it one cup final in ever? I'm pretty sure he's only lost one cup final, and I think that was against, who was that against again? Chelsea. That's it. Or is it 2? 1 or 2 in his whole career?
It might be.
Oh, the Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League. No, not domestically. No, it's just that's just how dominant he's been since he's come through. What was it? Barcelona B. That's mental, man. It's just, City are just they're just a machine. And the thing is that they will probably end up dropping off a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Like when he does leave, he's the greatest. But I don't think the drop off's going to be that mad. I just believe they're going to keep bringing in good youth players. It will develop what he needs to develop for next season and whatnot. And then and before you know it, they still got a solid team and they're just going to be still wicked. This is what I say. It's like when Luis Enrique took over Barcelona. It fit like a glove, and ultimately that team was disgusting. That front three that they had was disgusting. They still had Xavi in that, don't get me wrong. But Iniesta was a bit more aged and stuff like that. I just don't know, man. I just don't know.
Well,
I'm just in hope. Yeah, he's like, crazy good. Wait, you back?
Like,
Jay?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we just talk about Pep leaving. It's just like it's about time, man.
Well, yeah, I think the thing with Pep leaving is it's more like, but then there's a certain level of, if you're Arteta or something, you want to beat Pep before he leaves because you don't want people to say you only won the league because Pep left.
Yeah.
So Arsenal next season will be like, they need to win the league, like for Arteta's legacy as much as anything. And I think with Pep, the biggest compliment I can give him is that if you gave any other manager couldn't do what he's done for City. I think if you put any other manager in that team for 6 years, they don't have more than 2 titles, maybe 3 at a push. And I think that a rising tide raises all boats. Yeah, I know Ches is like, yeah. So the thing is, it's the
love that one, isn't it?
I do like it. I do like it. It's like the level of the quality of the teams and the league has improved because Pep, the wave, has come in and he's lifted all the boats higher. That's why you started getting multiple English teams winning Champions Leagues. That's why you start seeing English teams dominating the European competitions. Asterisks this season, but because the quality and level of side you need to be in order to beat Pep has encouraged these teams to be better. So he's been very good for the English game, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Wait, Cash, you just need a squad like City. No, it's not about having a squad like City. No one could just win with a squad like City. Don't even have a big. They don't even have a big squad. They don't have a big squad. Like I don't remember Bernardo Silva coming and being absolutely amazing. Like he was a great player at Monaco, but he evolved into be a better player. He made Bernardo what he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually, a lot of these players, Vardio, you could say he's made him a solid left back. All of a sudden, John Stones, he's evolved him. No, actually, when I've deep it,
Okay.
the only like Rodri, he evolved his game.
The
He used to
only
be
player who came in
Look at Ake. Look at
was
Ake.
probably Haaland. I think he's the only one.
Yeah, Haaland is the only one
literally.
that might be trying
Yeah,
to
he
evolve
was- yeah.
overall game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sustained it. Everybody else, even KDB, he got the most assists in the Bundesliga before he left the Wolfsburg. But even
Exactly.
he was
You'd be
proper
doing-
young though, innit? He was proper young, so no one's
Yeah.
expecting him in the Prem.
You'd be doing,
Full
yeah,
Pep.
you'd be doing Man City a disservice in terms of Pep, anyways, about the squad that they got because he evolved that squad. That's it. Like, come on, man, it's Pep's era. He made that team the way it was, and that's that. You can't be sorry about that. But
You know what
anyway,
it is though?
go on.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, I think because Manchester City, the money, all of that side, I feel like fans become salty because, of course, you know, our clubs ain't out here doing what they're doing in terms of spending the type of money that they do. We almost forget
but tell a lie.
what-
More our clubs have spent more money than Pep in his reign. How about that?
Yeah.
People don't want to answer.
No,
that.
Yeah.
but we don't want to go down that route because then
I
we
don't-
start doing, as Ches was just saying there about KDB, and then we start listing these players. If we all looked at these players beforehand, let's stop acting like these players were all world-class players. None of them were literally world-class. He's
Yeah.
actually turned them into
Hold
that. So
on.
the only way you can do that, obviously by like a Haaland, for example, but like they weren't like Bernardo Silva wasn't this world-class player. You know,
Yeah.
Rodri was definitely not a world-class player before he came to Manchester City. Like I was even questioning the
Thomas
players like
Partey.
this,
Thomas Partey had a
But-
bigger
but-
prop than him.
100%.
Yeah.
But the one thing I would push back on a little bit in terms of what he's saying is
Oh
that
my
what
word.
City did is City bought the creme de la creme of the players that were ready to step up. So if you look at like even like that age demographic of like 23 to 25, they bought the very best players in world football in that age demographic, in my opinion. They bought
I don't think they did.
I think they did. As in, like, if you look at the players like Leroy Sané, you look at players like Bernardo Silva, Rodri was only at Atletico for a year, yeah, and he got bought for 50 something. So he was shining at Atletico. Maybe the uneducated eyes don't see it, but the data and Pep's eyes saw that. And I'm saying, like, Mendy, obviously he got injured, but he was a top left back when he first joined. £50 million. Walker, £50 million. Diaz, £50 million. Like, constantly buying these players. Obviously, those players like Stones, where it's like he bought the profile rather than specifically what the player was delivering. But in my opinion, I think he bought the best prospects in that age demographic, just like what Real Madrid are doing now. If you look at Real Madrid, you look at the Camavingas, the Tchouaménis, the Rudigers. They're buying the best players you can get in that profile for reasonable prices of money. And those players then go on to be world-class potentially through a combination of coaching, but also their natural evolution. Those players were always destined to be at that level to an extent because they were good anyway.
Yeah, I agree on that.
But you always need the right manager around
know
you. I
what
mean, you
I'm
can
saying,
have
it's a
all the
balance.
talent under the sun, but if you've got the wrong manager in the,
Yeah,
look at Mo Salah. You know what I mean?
and it's not even as what they bought as well. You can even say, even along the sides of, look at the youth that they've got in. Look, Man United used to have the best youth, like things, products coming through and all that. It used to be known. Arsenal, and Chelsea as well, always had quite a good youth thing. But them, they brought in Foden. Don't cost a penny. People forget about that. Rico Lewis, looking like he's about 20 years of age. People forget this, and he's going to grow into be one of the better right backs in the league. He might even be a centre mid at this point. And then you look at even Oscar Bob through their academy and stuff like that. The academy prospect that they've like also sold. I see you've got a good model going on. So that's why, this is why when I say, oh, you're twerking for City, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. No, it's just that, you know what it
Calling a
is?
spade, man.
You know what it is, right? Sometimes it's just nice to talk about football. Sometimes it's good to be shameless. It depends on your moods, right? And the quick people are quick to do is the 115. That's not proven yet. So why am I going to talk about that? So at this moment of time, whatever. I don't care if that's hanging over their head. The amount of money they spent, maybe 2008 to that, they spent bare bread. But overall, Chelsea have spent the most in the Premier League era, obviously due to recency. And City are down there, and Man United spent more. So yeah, the whole point is not gaslighting or nothing like that. It's just being fair, because every time you go on a show that isn't a City show, it's always negative. Do you know what I mean? Like, when do you ever give them props? Whenever you say, you know what, They're just a very good fucking team and a very good outfit. And they're doing stuff that we wish we were doing. We wish our clubs were spending right. We wish our clubs were having that much success in recency. Obviously, bar Chelsea can say something maybe along those lines. It's just that it's pathetic. So that's why you can't cuss City. Someone on this panel tell me, bar charges, bar that, when it comes to their team, how many times can we actually jump? When can we jump on City? When they lose that odd game. When they draw, we fucking have a field day. That's how you know when you're a good team, when you have a field day on a draw. So it's just giving them props. It's not. This ain't a Arsenal show. This ain't a Man United channel. It's a multi-club thing, and there's Man City supporters. So you have to be fair. As much as I want to be biased, like against Chelsea,
you got to call it the way it is, Kaz. You know what I mean? We can't sit there and freaking just keep chatting shit about freaking Manchester City all day, even though because we don't like them. The reason why everyone is talking about Manchester City is because they forced the topic. They win league after league after league, and it's like easy peasy, not even phased. They're always going to be favourites to win the league, and it's not because they're Manchester City. It's because of what they've been able to produce in the time that they've been around and with Pep Guardiola, and it's a fact. Like it, hate it, it's a fact. You know what I mean? If it's raining outside, you can't stand and say, "I want it to be sunny." It's raining, man. Deal with it. You know what I mean?
And you know, I'm not even trying to hear oil money, all that bullshit because
whatever. Because we don't take the oil money. I take the oil money. Everyone here would take the oil money. So wherever the money's coming from, we don't care. As long as the freaking owners spend it, we don't care.
The thing is though, even with that whole spending and stuff, like I always find the spending thing like a funny thing. And I agree with what you're saying earlier on about look at the players that necessarily like they were like on the cusp of being like these world-class players. But I watched the Galactico team who were kind of shit during their period of time, and that had Zidane, Figo, Ronaldo. You're talking some of the best players I've ever seen on the planet Earth in a team, and they weren't even that good during that period of time. So it's always going to have to be that balance of like, you know, maybe if you get the right manager, obviously you get the best manager in the world, cool. Plus you've obviously got these players, because I looked at them PSG and I'm like, PSG, again, another team. They had some of the best players on the planet, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, Cavani, Ibrahimovic. They weren't really cooking up much trees. So it's like, there obviously has to be a balance. You need the manager to be able to supplement the players that you do have. But I do think we go overboard sometimes. We're like, yeah, but they can spend this. I'm like, bro, if you can spend it, we'd all sit here and want our teams to spend the money on some of these players, but we can't act like these players were all just sitting there ready to be. No, like some of these players he's had to develop into the player that we're talking about today. Like when we do talk about Rodri, I'm sorry, not a person on planet Earth was saying, Rodri, he's the next one up. Thomas Partey was literally their player. He was gas one.
He had an ultimate performance against you, man.
He was the guy. Because he was the guy. Rodri just wasn't. I'm not saying Rodri was good. He just wasn't the guy in that regard. But then 100%. We move forward. Now we see, like Rodri was always good, and he always had this untapped potential to then turn into this world-class player. Like he's done that with a couple players, and you're just like, we can't keep using this excuse of but he can just sign this guy. He can just, bro. I've seen him sign Fernan Torres and sell him back because he was a flop. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens. Like
would you also say, just obviously to wrap up the City part, it's just like, would you say like, I think Pep Guardiola has exposed how shit other managers are, like as in terms of the quality of other managers. Like Pep's up there, but because he's so up there, you look at what's available and what's really around, and you can't. Before, maybe about 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you probably can give yourself a handful of managers that could probably compete, maybe. But when it comes down to it, there's a lot of unproven stuff. And when Pep's so up there, you can really see what no manager's consistent, in my opinion, other than maybe Ancelotti. Diego Simeone fell off a roof. We're gassed over a De Zerbi at big Man United, at big Chelsea and all this stuff. We're gassed over Arteta, who's a new prospect of manager. Do you understand? Klopp's just left.
The gap is big.
The gap's mad. Hansi Flick won a sextuple, and we still don't put him on that bracket. We gas over a Nagelsmann system. Like deep it. Arne Slot is taking over Liverpool Football Club. Who is Arne Slot? Like, you know what I mean? The only one I can say is consistent. The one I would say this day that you could say he's close to Pep, but he's nowhere near his level, let's be real, is probably Simeone Inzaghi over at Inter Milan, because he's been consistent. Other than that, Conte, we don't even know what you're going to get with him these days. So Carlo Ancelotti is the only one, because he's been there, done that, he's from the old era, is that could really compete with Pep on the level. Other than that, it's like the drop-off is so far down, It's ridiculous. So, mate, he does need. I can't wait for him to leave. It needs to be a balanced build, man. Come on. The manager market is finished in a way until someone steps up. Yeah. I know, Ches, you're thinking like Pochettino. It's all right, man. If Pep leaves, Ederson and Bernardo, they will get Paqueta and the next upcoming goalkeeper and be back in 2 seasons, and they will get a proper manager. I think they'll get Michel. I think that's probably the next one to take over. Maybe. Kind of makes sense. City group. I wish I can kind of say extra stuff, but I can't. I'll leave that down to somebody else as well. Big up honesty, by the way, for all these super chats. Liverpool have come from out of nowhere to join the race for Benfica midfield Orkun Kokcu. He was also at Feyenoord, by the way, according to the Daily Mirror. I don't believe that for 1 second. One, Daily Mirror, take it as a source, maybe. It depends who said it from Daily Mirror. But I don't think Kokcu is one of them that they would need when you got like a Szoboszlai already, and he's still yet to prove himself. Liverpool are an admirer of Aston Villa, Jacob Ramsey. Now, that's a guy I admire.
That's a player.
That's a player.
That's a player.
Unfortunate injuries this season. Yeah. See, this is what I mean. Can you already tell? Like, see, when it comes from Matt Law or something, I don't know if you know more than me, Ches. I don't know what he's like with Liverpool stuff, but you can already see Michael Edwards had identified proper athletic players. Like,
they're even diligent already, bro. Yeah,
already, yeah.
Liverpool, I'm expecting to be quick in the market. Even Chelsea, I'm expecting clubs that need to get their business done early because the manager situations are new or whatever to get their thing done early. So, yeah, not surprised. Liverpool get their signs done early. So,
yeah, I can see that.
But
moving on to the Arteta side, this is probably Chez's favorite. Obviously, the Arsenal out brigade's been in full force the last few days, and to be fair, whether it's reactionary or reasonable and all that stuff, that's for you lot to decide. I'm pretty sure you're a fan. Obviously, you're not a part of that brigade. It's up to you. I don't blame people at the end of the day, but Arteta contract extension, is that deserved?
Mate, look, you know what it is. The Arteta out brigade have to understand one thing. The Cronkies own this club. You've been in a discussion to win a title 2 years in a row. 20 years we haven't been in a serious discussion to win a title. And this is what the Cronkies look at. So let's just call it straight. 20 years you haven't been in a discussion for a title, a real title. And don't talk the Leicester year because that was bullshit. I don't count it because we weren't even in it. So 20 years you weren't in the title race. Now the expectation is, we need to win the title. When was the last time any Arsenal fan could say that? Good question, right? Now, they're going to sit there and say Arteta isn't the guy. That's cool. I'm fine with that. Who is the guy? We just discussed that there aren't that many managers out there. This ain't FIFA settings where I can sit there in 5 seconds, make a signing, get the guy over with the money. It doesn't work that easily. So when I look at the Cronkies giving this guy an extension, it's understandable. Because for them, it's like, well, we're in another title race. We pushed the best team in England down to the last game week, and we're back in the Champions League. For them, it's good enough. Have they spent money? Yes, they have. Are they going to spend more? Bloody oath they will. So the Arteta out brigade can sit there and be Arteta out all day. I have a suggestion for them. Don't do it on YouTube because it ain't going to do shit. If you really want change, why don't you guys get together, get the best YouTubers that are out there, get together, get in front of the Emirates, and just protest Arteta out. Do something instead of smashing the keyboard. And then maybe you're going to get your wish. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to hear it in the stadium. Because I don't hear it in the stadium. I'm watching the games. I can't hear it. I haven't been there, but I don't hear enough of it. So it's not going to happen. Let's be realistic. No one wants to play Arsenal now. Manchester United don't want to play Arsenal. Chelsea don't want to play Arsenal. Tottenham don't want to play Arsenal. Even Liverpool didn't want to play Arsenal last season. Arsenal aren't a team that we've been a pushover. We're not a pushover anymore. You just tell me, look, I'm just calling a spade a spade. I'm not going to sit there and say he's been not phenomenal. But we haven't been in a title conversation for 20 fucking years. In the last 2 seasons we have been. And all I'm hearing is the same bullshit. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Yes, I understand. It's not up there. But if we're going to sit there and talk about what's good enough and what's not good enough, we haven't seen a title in 20 fucking years. So what are you basing your good enough on? Serious. If it ain't good enough and 20 years you hung around waiting for a fucking title, you get close, it's still not good enough. Do me a favor. Put on a blue shirt. Yeah. Join Manchester City and you can win titles just like that. 20 years we haven't been in a title. We haven't been in a title race. 20 years.
Mm.
And now you're playing against. Now you've got the best team in England, and look what they're able to achieve.
Yeah, you had me, and then you lost me. Just at the end, you just lost me because I was with you all the way, and then I started I heard a little bit of, you know what? This is the best we can do. This is the best.
No, it's not the best we can do. No, it's not the best we can do. This is last year. Last year we got close. This year we got closer. We're getting closer to winning the title. You're playing against the best team in England, bar none.
Chaz, before you go, let me push back because last year you I was under the impression, and it wasn't you that said this, but people told me you only didn't win the league because Saliba got injured. You didn't say that, but people said that. It was said. Yeah, it was said that you didn't win the league because Saliba got injured. Yeah,
cool story.
This season, I will say that in my opinion, you've been quite lucky with serious injuries to key players. That's not to say that you haven't had players injured. I'm saying your Sakas, your Odegaards, your Rices, your Salibas, your Gabriels, your Ben Whites. To the majority, they've stayed fit all season. Now, my thing is that that's not linear. Next season, maybe Rice does his ACL in preseason. Maybe Saliba has a back injury that puts him out for 3 months. So my thing, being a Spurs fan, and knowing what it's like to not win when you're on top, when you're doing well and you're having progression season on season, I have to push back a little bit and I say, not Arteta out, but we're now at 4 years, no trophies. The last trophy Arteta did win, it wasn't his squad. Yeah, it was Emery's squad and you won with it. So credit to him, but it wasn't his squad. So my question to you is, okay, fair enough. No Arteta out. I think that's a bit hyperbole. But at what point do you say this guy can't get us over the line? Let's say you improve on your points total, 1 or 2 points. So you improve again next season, but you don't win the league again. At that point, do you say we're just unlucky, we keep going? Sunk cost fallacy. We spent this much time, effort, and money with this manager. We should keep going. Or do you say
that's valid? That's valid.
You know what? We had 3 years. We've come really, really close. Maybe this is our Brendan Rodgers. Maybe this ain't the guy to win us the trophy, and we need to find our Klopp. What do you think?
The problem we have now is we just discussed the managers that are out there, right? Liverpool have just got themselves a new manager, unknown, right? Could work, might not, right? All I can say right now is if I sit there and say, okay, this manager out, cool story. The next manager that comes in is going to be an unknown. Are the Arsenal fans going to be happy with that?
That's the issue, right?
And they're going to, and you know what they're going to say? And you know what they're going to say? We got to give him time. Let's give him 2 or 3 years. That's going to be wonderful for everybody on the panel except for the Arsenal fans. Because it might work, but it's a massive gamble. It might, but it's a massive gamble.
Can I say something though?
Of course you
Go
can.
for it, brother. Please.
What happened there? The only thing I can say is to be fair, Ozzy, I listen to lots of I'll call them out because everyone knows who they are. Northside, Jez, Kenny.
They got their opinions, bro. That's their opinion. You know what I mean? I know I respect everyone's opinion, bro. I do.
And I'm listening to you, and I do streams with Jay and the guy on Kaz literally weekly for the last year and a bit. So I listen to these guys all the time, and I hear both sides. So that's what I'm presenting to you. And the point is that you could argue that the manager market is poor and the replacements aren't adequate enough. So what you just said is true, Ozzy. Like if you bring someone in, it's a risk. It's not guaranteed to work. So why do you want to change that and upset the apple cart and it might not work out? But at the same time, they're not wrong in saying that because it's been 20 years and you're so close, you need to get over the line now because you don't know how long this period is going to last. You don't know how long you're going to be in this position for because everyone keeps telling me you're going to get a striker on everything next season.
We are.
Linear, and you're going to improve and improve and improve. But football has shown me that football doesn't work like that. Like, it's actually not that simple. And it might not, people could argue, like, Liverpool situation with G's team where it was like they were close, but they didn't invest enough. You might actually invest. But some players might be like, it's been 5 years. Why am I still here? I'm now like 26 years old, 27. Real Madrid's calling or PSG's calling, whatever. I might have to leave. And my thing is, the longer you leave it, is you're leaving it to chance for other teams to not catch up to your level. And in my opinion, all due disrespect, you're not like you're clear at the moment, but it took you what 4 years under this manager, and the last 2 years been challenging
with a dead squad.
I agree. By the way,
it was a dead squad.
It was a dead squad. He done a good job and he progressed the team, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you Chelsea, Spurs, or Liverpool, Man United can't be back. Not challenging, but top 4 contenders within the next 2-3 years.
And I would be with you to say that they could be up there as well. But there's no guarantee that Arsenal are going to drop off. See, everybody's thinking and wishing and hoping.
Not drop off. I'm just saying, like I keep saying on these streams, it's harder to go from second to first, especially against an exceptional Man City team, than it is to go from 5th to 2nd, for example.
Precisely. So you got an exceptional Manchester City team, It's easier to drop off than to actually, dethrone them, right? So with the idea of, it's time for a new manager, it's very easy to sit there and say new manager. And you know what the main story, the main reason is why everyone wants a new manager? They don't like the name. It's all about marketing. If I had said there, Arsenal are going to get Zidane, and Zidane fell on his face, everybody would still be backing Zidane. Plain and simple. What shits me the most is that the Arsenal fans don't watch the football. Now, I watch the football. I'm not going to sit there and say Arteta's the best manager out there. Fuck, no, not even close. But I know that our style keeps changing. When was the last time that we could hold a frigging clean sheet consistently? When we could score 1 goal and say, that's about it, we're going to shut shop. Cool story now. It doesn't happen. But what I'm trying to say is that there is progress there. And what people want is to dethrone a team like Manchester City, and I want to as well. But Jurgen Klopp couldn't do it. So he had to get the fuck out of Liverpool, didn't he? Run, son. He did it once. He couldn't do it again. He said, I can't do this no more. So you tell me, in all honesty, which manager comes into Arsenal and within 2 seasons with this squad, because it's already built, wins it, and how? And I bet you people are going to yell at Ancelotti, which is not going to happen. Then they're going to yell at Zidane. Seriously? Who? It's going to be an unknown manager, and it's a gamble. Let's be realistic. Remember, the owners are realistic.
The thing is, there's always extremes.
Allegri, cool story. I wanted him too. Look where he is now. Sorry.
The thing is, I'm not gonna speak for you guys. Quite disingenuous, but I feel like a lot of Arteta owners who are very hardened. They're very much on the vibe of, I don't want to change what's happening right now because it might not work. But football's all about risk taking, bro. Like, football is literally about, if you buy this player, it's going to improve you this much.
I keep it
2 points.
And the problem,
it was literally 2 points. 2 points in it.
You said they don't like the name.
2 points.
What they don't like? You said they don't like his name. They like his CV. He hasn't got a CV. He's inexperienced. That's what they don't like.
An inexperienced manager got this close. Can you believe it? Who would have thought?
No, but we're not hearing it. If Arteta had trophies like Klopp did in this Portuguese league, I don't think you would hear as much, because he's actually proven that he can win stuff, major trophies. The problem they have is we're backing a guy who's never actually won anything major, and we're just hoping it works out with him. So there's the saying, if we're this close, thanks for the memories, mate. Someone who's established win something now, keep building, and we can get that winning Arsenal back. And your argument with 20 years is facts, by the way, bro. You're saying 20 years, like, you don't take it for granted. We haven't been here for a while, but that's why they're saying we're this close. I don't want Brendan Rodgers to be stuck here for another 10 years, 5 years, just because I don't want to change something.
So the whole point is, though, in my opinion, right from here, you might be on mute, Jay, but I was going to say, like, the one thing that hasn't been mentioned is the managers' names. See, I think both sets of fans who want Arteta in now, I think both are probably right to a degree anyways, and probably wrong as well. But when you mention, like, we just did it, what the difference in quality of Pep and probably an Ancelotti, you got to go really down the list, and then there's your Artetas, and then you got to go down the list again. Like, if you're going to bring in a new manager, you are at risk of losing that stability of being up there and challenging, right? And that's what I believe Arteta winners are facing at this moment of time, right? They don't know, like, you can't just say, yeah, you know what, he's going to come in and win us a trophy. Allegri against Pep, because that's not happening. Like,
Ancelotti.
Ancelotti.
He did it for Everton.
The only 2 managers, I believe, 3 managers, maybe. I don't know if I'm going to put him on that pedestal because I already mentioned him, right? Only 2 managers that I believe could come in right now and could challenge Pep and probably maybe do a better job, or probably will do a better job. And that's a big if, by the way, is First one, Ancelotti, but he's staying. He's not going nowhere, and he's not coming back to the Prem. I believe he's going to go international ball afterwards. So let's rule that one out if there's that question next season. And the third one is, I don't think Diego Simeone is going to be available. His wages are way too high. He loves Spain, talks Spanish, his native language, and all that stuff. I don't think he's going anywhere. So let's be real. You're not getting him either. And he ain't exactly done great in Spain lately. And then the third one I would say is probably Zidane. And we don't know what he can do with a squad that's a little bit less than what the Real Madrid was, even though he did build a second team, which was also very, very good. But that's the only questions. Other than that, you've got to look at maybe, again, your De Zerbi's, your Ange Postecoglou's. Hansi Flick is a question mark, I suppose. Again,
What about Alonso?
See, again,
Alonso's not coming to Arsenal. He's not going anywhere.
In hindsight, if Arsenal,
Let's be honest. Look where
I
he
just
is.
meant like as
He's
a
trying.
manager. I just meant like a manager.
Yeah. The only one, but that's a because I know he won a title in it and a very, very good, convincing title. You could say over
Wonderful way.
Bundesliga. Again, unfortunately, it's still a question mark. Can you do it against Pep? We don't know if he can do it in the Champions League. We don't know anything. Do you get what I mean? The only other name again that I could think could pull up a fight again, maybe is Simeone Inzaghi. I think I'm starting to rate him a little bit, and I'm starting to like his football a little bit more. And that's the only one. And again, that's another if. And he has one. So
let's say let's say you man are correct. I just thought about something. So let's say next season he comes third. What do you do then?
See, I can't talk for all fans.
This is the problem I've got because everyone's saying let's say next season the argument is don't swap him now because he might might win the league, you might not win the league. Cool, that's a fair argument. Yeah, you man. But the thing is,
if he starts dropping off, that's when you start thinking, you know what, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, you man just said you can't get rid of him.
It's not about
no. Not now. Not and look, can I just jump in real quick?
Of course, go.
The Kroenke's a businessman, all right. And in my previous roles, I've been part of marketing. I've been part of all that bull crap behind closed doors. And I know everyone wants to talk about manager out, manager in. If you own this business right now, would you risk another manager? And that's the reason why I know it's not going to happen. So I don't sit here and say it's time for a new manager because I don't like to sit here and talk about Harry Potter shit. I know it's not going to happen. I don't want to sit here and dream and hope and wish. It's not going to happen. I know it's not. And the reason why is because in the eyes of the Kroenkes right now, they've got Champions League again, and they almost got the league. If he drops off next season, then they might be thinking, you know what, this ain't us, because they're going to spend another 250 to 280 million. They're going to spend it. And most Arsenal fans are, how do you know that? They're going to spend it because I told everybody what Arsenal could spend if the Kroenkes allowed them to spend the money that they friggin' bring in, and they're bringing in a lot more. They spent it last season; they'll spend it again. But if he starts dropping off, then best believe that the Kroenkes are going to be looking for another option.
Yeah, you could say that. Let me run these super chats anyway, guys. 450 of you in there. I think some of you are in an advert at the moment as well. Really enough. Can you run the likes if you don't mind? We're not on 200 likes yet. We're about 58 away. So there's a lot of you that haven't liked the video, and if you do hear this on time, hopefully you can like the video, and it will boost obviously algorithms and stuff. There's going to be a lot of YouTubers and stuff. They're probably going to take breaks in the summer. You should already know from last year. Me and Monts don't take breaks. There's no such things. So 2 shows a day plus bare content, and we've got lots of content to think about. The real fortune, legit question: why does everyone hate on Arsenal? I don't think it's hating on Arsenal. I think it's more hating your fans. But when the question asked about Arsenal, you lot get really defensive. But at the same time,
it's because of the jump around fans, huh? Some here, some there. It's like a fucking tennis game.
No, but it's like any club. If someone questions someone that you like at your club, or someone that you're in favor of, or whatever, or just your club in general, you're going to get defensive naturally. But it's typically the fans, and most fan base are delusional. It's just that obviously Arsenal putting that hierarchy at the top of that.
No, I think for me, even even as a Spurs fan, I'm just caveat. When I watched the All or Nothing documentary, I like, these are nice young boys. Do you know what I mean? These are lovely. These are what the
hell are you saying on YouTube right now? He didn't mean it in that way. Okay, he didn't mean it in that way. Am I right? He didn't.
I'm not. Let's act let's act above the gutter. Do you know what I mean? These are lovely young men. Yeah, delightful delightful young men, right? Use take
just
two.
stop. Just stop. Just do this. Stop. Right.
No,
Just
I mean,
hit. Pump the brakes, man. This
You know
it
what I
ain't
mean?
looking good, man.
I know. I'm just like, okay. So these delightful young men, yeah, they're lovely people, and they come across well, and there's nothing to hate about these people. And I think the fans, it's kind of normal. I think AFTV did a lot of damage for Arsenal fans' perception. For other fans, I think it did huge damage because it was one of the first times that we'd actively seen. And I'm a fan of modern media, and I'm not going to take anything away from Robbie or anything, but I think it was one of the first times you'd seen fans really profiting from a team being bad. And I think that sat badly with some people. And I know, to be fair, they make content if the team wins, they make content if the team loses. One will make an argument that negativity sells, so that it's more inclined that people will watch the videos when Arsenal were doing badly. But as a first market mover, as a pioneer of that kind of media, I think that affected the perception of Arsenal to a lot of other fans and fan bases. They became a kind of like a figure of fun. People, we would tune in to watch the videos when you'd lose. We'd see what was trending. Troops made a career of screaming at Arsenal. And I think all of that added together, with, if you just sprinkle in the factor of we're a big club, they are a very big club, big fan base, no league titles for 20 years, but they still talk very heavily like they're a big club, which they are. But obviously, again, all of these things, I think when you mix it together, makes them very open for attacks from rival fan bases. But
I have to disagree with you there. I think AFTV just gave everyone a voice of what we really think. I think the same thing with a lot of other things. Actually, to be fair, if it wasn't for people like United Stand, the Football Terrace, AFTV, a lot of us probably wouldn't even have the idea to do this today, unfortunately. I hear what you're saying, that you're saying the perception, but I believe, from what I remember going off of back in school, general conversations and stuff like that, we all said this stuff, it just wasn't on camera. We say mad stuff every day. We say mad stuff off camera and everything. But I just believe if we just talk about that part, and just because I want to close that part anyways, if you don't mind, it's just the fact that a lot of these men wish they were earning money talking about their clubs. They wish they had their opinion. They wish they were the next big thing. They wish they were Troops. They wish they were. I'm not even going to say his name as he goes, because he's a flipping woman beater and everything. All of them, man, there, like, and you can say name full of so many different people. Like, people's lives have changed and stuff like that, and that's probably down to Robbie at the end of the day, Mark Goldbridge, and all this stuff. So I just believe people are just haters in it, in that respect. But the perception, of course, it can be, the younger fans obviously can take different sides of things when they hear stuff online and change it because of. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why when you click on YouTube, there's a little option that says not made for kids. So that's on their part. Personally, so yeah, man, they get hounded because they wish they were making money like that, like them, and that's as simple as that, personally, innit? And I just think they gave the real fans a voice, like Chelsea Fan TV gives Ches a voice when he wants to talk something, and whatnot, and etc. So that's what I think. Otherwise, we'll be probably in our miserable lives day to day, making the next man bread for a 9-to-5 job that you wish you was never in. That's the way I look at it personally. But I think both things can be right at the same time as well. Honestly, I have a question looking at the Man U and Chelsea situations. What do you guys think will get their stuff together first and go back to challenging?
Chelsea
right now.
Chelsea.
It could.
They've got the players, man. They just haven't got the fucking.
It all comes down to this summer.
If they sack Poch, they go right back to ground zero, in my opinion. Like they basically
They're not sacking Poch.
They definitely might. Like there's no smoke without fire. These reports that are coming out now, to me, indicate this is very fragile, because I think what Chelsea want, and it's not illogical, is they want what Liverpool have set up. Yeah, they want that set up. Chelsea ain't spending all this money on the best scouts and recruitment people for the manager to be telling them what they need. Do you know what I mean? They want to separate the division of labor, and they want the scouts to do the scouting and the coach to do the coaching. Now, Poch is a slightly older school manager, and I assume he wants to be the manager, not the coach. He wants to be the manager. Now, if he's going to stay at Chelsea, The problem is that he only takes responsibility for the coaching. So if the players don't work for whatever reason, that's still his job. That's still him on the hook for that, but he has no input. Now he has to acknowledge now whether he's willing to stay in that environment, because I don't think the board are going to change. And nor should they, because Poch's player ID isn't necessarily world class or anything. So the fact of the matter remains here: is Poch willing to stay at a job where he has no input over the transfers? And I think that's 50-50. I actually don't think he'd be willing to stay. And I think his finish to the season has left him in pretty good standing. And if I'm United, he's got a good chance of walking out the Chelsea job and straight into the United job.
But with,
I mean,
but with that, I mean, in saying that, which manager is gonna tick? He's gonna tick the box and say, "Yeah, I want to come to Chelsea without any input."
You know, it makes sense. If Poch gets sacked by Chelsea, why would you, if you're in United, not think, "Okay, I take Poch over Ten Hag"?
Because I'm not trying to see a centre back at left back and a left back at left wing like Luke Shaw. But yeah, look, I don't know, man. Chelsea are way more on course than United. United got a long way to go. Again, it could come down to one summer, which can make and break both sides. Really, I don't know.
Yeah, Chelsea more, but it depends.
Yeah, it depends. Honestly, what if Arteta's Brendan Rodgers comes close but can't get over the line? For how long do you keep that going before you say he needs to? I think next season's quite defining. I think obviously we spoke about that, but next year definitely defining, because let's not act like at the start of the year season, we said, what's a successful season for Arteta? What will keep him in a job? If he gets far in the Champions League, at least like a quarterfinals or something like that, plus taking City right to the very end, then we most of us said, like he's cool. So let's not act like he should get sacked all of a sudden. It's just in the manner it did. Obviously, it hurts to some. Xabi and Xabi Alonso both won their league in their first season. Alonso ended Bayern domestic domination. That's what a lot of fans also say. Yeah, that's true. We don't know how good Xabi's could be. I think we need to see him away from Barcelona potentially, with a bit of a better, I'll say, bit of a better recruitment system as well. But we'll see about that, because they're on strings. Ajovi says Ancelotti and Zidane would be exposed at Arsenal. Lucky knockout wins. It's easier than winning a league against Pep.
Machine, man. Pep's a machine, man. And that Manchester City team is a machine.
Yeah,
it's what it is.
What's the difference between De Zerbi and Arteta?
Here we go.
Arteta's actually managing a big club to a good standard.
Hold on. No, but think about it like this, yeah. De Zerbi last season, was highly, highly rated, yeah. And this season, you come into the team, you say, listen, and I'll compare Arteta in this context and De Zerbi. So De Zerbi last season, he had Colwell, he had Caicedo, he had McAllister, Mitoma, Solly March. This season, 3 of those players were not at the FC. Solly March has missed the whole season, and Mitoma's missed half the season, right? Obviously, Brighton were going great goals. So I will say, if I am Arteta and I took Saka, Rice, we'll say, okay, let's go Rice. Let's say Saka, Odegaard, Rice, out the team, and then let's say took Gabriel out the team as well. Where would Arsenal finish?
What do you
definitely not second, but definitely ain't finished.
Exactly. That's my point. There'd be a drop off. There'd
be a drop off in any team if you took out key players, regardless if it's Arteta or De Zerbi. It doesn't really matter. Look at Man United.
If you took out Rodri, that team collapses.
Exactly.
Rodri, I take out Rodri, KDB, and I take out say Stones, and then not collapse, but Manchester City would drop off too. Every team would drop off key players. Liverpool would drop off. Fuck.
People are like, people don't understand. This is why I'm saying when people are heavily, I'm not saying that you guys are heavily critical of De Zerbi. You have to understand.
I think he's good.
You have to understand the context. So when someone says, "What's the big difference between the two of them?" I'm saying that basically, like, you can't. If De Zerbi had last year's Brighton team and then added a few players to it, what could they have achieved this season? But what actually happened is he lost 4 or 5 players from that team, and the team went from 6 to 10.
That's what I'm in your camp in that person.
Yeah, I'm with you with that.
I'm with you on that one.
They've weakened.
No, hold on. And people are like, if you took KDB, Haaland out, we won the league. Yeah, because you're taking KDB and Haaland out and putting Bernardo in. You're not taking fucking Caicedo and McAllister out and put in Belieber, Justin Belieber and fucking Hinchelwood. Do you know what I mean? As in, there's levels to this. So I don't understand why people don't be so myopic and so thinking football's so linear. It's very simple. Brighton's squad is nowhere near as good as another squad higher in the league.
I think they've done well to finish where they are, being in Europe for the first time. But at the same time, I think the question over De Zerbi's more is, we know you stick to your principles. It's the same thing we cuss Ange for. What is your plan B? Like, what is it? That's all that is.
But the thing is if you're going to look at development, there's two ways of looking at it. Am I trying to overhaul the infrastructure of my football club and implement an overarching style, or am I trying to get results in real time? They're two different philosophies, and if you want results in real time, it might be to the detriment of the progression of the club. But in the first season, you might do better. So
maybe
the question is, are you going to adapt for every game so you win, or are you going to play your philosophy so it can embed in the players long term?
Yeah, you're right. I don't think you're wrong on that part. Personally, that's fair. That's fair, dude.
You see when we talk about this whole philosophy thing, and I hear it because I like De Zerbi. I like him a lot. I would have taken him at Liverpool, but I think when we try to go overboard, though, I think is that when people say, you mentioned there about having a plan B, I'm like, I hear it, but it's very rare that managers will have much of a plan B. You're only really tweaking your plan A to try and fit. Now, obviously, if you've got the players to do so, you will do so. But then when we look at like some of these teams, I'm looking at the table right now, and the one thing that people always say to me is, yeah, look at his plan A. He's always conceding goals. I just checked the Premier League. I'm seeing Aston Villa, Tottenham only conceded one less goal. Brighton, Chelsea conceded more. Newcastle the same. West Ham more. Like, but then I'm not hearing anybody talking about, yeah, but these teams are always defensively open. I'm like, but we then use De Zerbi as an example.
Spurs do.
Spurs, yes, because of the way you play. But everyone, I don't hear anybody. I've not heard one person ever mention, Aston Villa, the way that they play such an open, expansive. No, they don't. I've never heard anyone mention it. We mentioned Aston Villa in this way, that Unai Emery is this, which, by the way, he is a very good manager. I want people to understand that. But we never ever say, yeah, Aston Villa, man, they can't defend. We never say that. But De Zerbi, as soon as he's not even conceding more goals than the rest, and now we're out here slating, not you guys, but people in the chat and online, you're slating De Zerbi. I'm like, that's how I know you're not actually watching the football, what's actually going on. But
that's Chelsea fall victim to that, because everyone would tell me, I attacked rubbish or whatever. We score quite a lot of goals, like 75 plus.
Yeah, you do.
That's what I was mentioning.
And what that goes to show me, bro, is that people don't actually watch you. What happens is they'll see Caicedo slip one game, or they'll see Brighton concede 5 goals in a game, and the narrative just becomes, they concede those goals are open. Or Caicedo's rubbish because he slipped over in the West Ham game, and then they lost that game. So you know what? That's my narrative. I'm sticking through for 38 games. I'm just going to change that. Bro, Brighton haven't been that bad this season. They've lost key players. They've had to deal with Europe as well. And they got to Roma, I think, quarterfinals? Whatever that was, the semi-final. So,
round 16, I think.
But even so, that's respectable getting out of the group. From their side, so...
Yeah. Big up King Winter Soldier, gifting subs. By the way, that's going to get addressed this summer as well. We've got something juicy as well. Like, trust me. If you want to hold on to the membership, up to you, obviously. But people that just want to support in general, like Winter Soldier and that, we got something good that benefits. Obviously, a lot of people would like calling shows and that. I don't like them, I'm going to be honest. But we got something where it does involve people and members. So just wait. And that's actually sustainable. That's the key word with memberships, sustainable. So it's not easy, trust me. Honestly, Real Madrid and German midfielder Toni Kroos will try from professional football after Euro 2020. Question: how high does he rank for you? Like, fucking hell, bro. Like, so that guy, what a player, bro. I mean, I slagged him off this year, and he proved me wrong. Like, I just thought he was finished. I say, you play Toni Kroos, you lose against City, then he had a wonder game. It's like
he pulled out against Bayern. Against Bayern, he pulled out.
It seems like it was only yesterday where I saw him playing for Bayern. Do you know what I mean? I still remember the game, 2013 and stuff like, and he was linked with us. Has it been that long? Time flies by, man. What a player.
Top player, man. He'd go down as one of those greats, like.
And big up Luke as well, who got banned by Letty for some reason. Smash the likes, people. 3 off 200.
So this Arteta De Zerbi thing has actually intrigued me, because it is very interesting to see the people who say he's not won anything And they're right. But the thing is that at any point has De Zerbi gone into a competition where he's expected to win? Has he ever
No,
gone into a competition as the favorite?
he's never gone in. He's never really managed a club that he's been under massive pressure, like a big
Exactly.
club.
And then has
It's
he
not
ever
his thing.
has he ever had a club where he's not had to lose major players in his team? Yeah, going into the next season. So I think it's apples and oranges. You know, a lot of the time you look at
Different
the
situations.
reason that Tuchel got his chance at Dortmund is because of what he did at Mainz. It's the same reason what Klopp did at Mainz got him a chance at Dortmund. They don't necessarily win trophies, but they show enough of a style, a logic, and patterns for them to say, hey, give this guy a bigger chance. And it's only by compounding that you see the best of these teams. Even Rodgers, to an extent, Brendan Rodgers, yeah, he lost Suarez, big loss, yeah, and the team and they weren't able to put the squad back together for him. Just that one loss was able for me. Arteta losing Xhaka, but then showing that he was able to restructure the team tells me he's a top manager. Yeah, that tells me he did lose a player and it still progressed. So that tells me he's got something about him, but he also hasn't won anything in the last 4 years, compounding season on season and having spent X amount of money. So what makes people say on the flip side that if you gave De Zerbi £500 million and told him he was only going to lose one major player in 4 years, that he wouldn't have silverware?
Yeah, perhaps. But we don't even know where he's going to go. We can rule out Bayern.
We don't know where he's
Juve.
at.
You can rule out a couple other clubs. AC Milan, Man United, Barcelona is my last three for him. So we'll see. Anyways, but guys, smash the like button. Obviously, the England Euro 2024 squad's going to be out in about 20 minutes. We were talking about it off screen, but I don't like running things too long. I'm going to make a reaction video to that as well because there might be some names I don't like. But we'll see. Anyways, we'll see. Gareth Southgate. Fuck, you know. All right. See you later.